Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the Commissioner of Police that cases which fall under Section 39 of the Dangerous Drugs Act and Section 3 of the Financial Intelligence and Anti-Money Laundering Act are also referred to the following institutions for audit trails in parallel to the inquiry by ADSU. 1. Assets Recovery Investigation Division. 2. Independent Commission Against Corruption. 3. Central Crime Investigation Department. 4. Integrity Reporting Services Agency. Concurrently, major cases are referred to the Mauritius Revenue Authority for income tax purposes or any other actions as appropriate. To ensure better coordination in these audit trails, the Commissioner of Police has issued updated guidelines to be followed by investigators as laid down in Administrative Order number 36 of 2021, dated 9 September 2021. The Commissioner of Police has also informed that the referral of drug cases is based on the following criteria. In drug cases where the street value of drugs is 100,000 rupees or more, referral is made to ARID. Where the street value of drugs is 500,000 rupees or more, the cases are referred to ICAC and IRSA for parallel financial investigation. And where the street value of the drugs secured is less than 500,000 rupees, the parallel financial investigation is carried out either by ADSU or CCID as decided by the Commissioner of Police. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am also informed by the Commissioner of Police that from the year 2015 to 12 May 2022, the number of reported drug cases is as follows. For the year 2015, 2,410 drug cases have been detected and 1,771 persons have been arrested. Out of these cases, audit trails have been conducted in 5 cases by the ADSU and 73 cases have been referred to ARID. For the year 2016, 2,395 drug cases have been detected and 1,863 persons have been arrested. Out of these cases, audit trails have been conducted in 6 cases by the ADSU and 58 cases have been referred to ARID. For the year 2017, 2,587 drug cases have been detected and 2,294 persons have been arrested. Out of these cases, audit trails have been conducted in 14 cases by the ADSU and 80 cases have been referred to ARID. For the year 2018, 3,065 drug cases have been detected and 2,774 persons have been arrested. Out of these cases, audit trails have been conducted in 7 cases by the ADSU, 2 cases have been referred to ICAC, and 110 cases have been referred to ARID. For the year 2019, 3,307 drug cases have been detected and 3,064 persons have been arrested. Out of these cases, audit trails have been conducted in 15 cases by the ADSU, 3 cases have been referred to ICAC, and 102 cases have been referred to ARID. For the year 2020, 3,737 drug cases have been detected and 3,387 persons have been arrested. Out of these cases, audit trails have been conducted in 126 cases by the ADSU, 14 cases have been referred to ICAC, 6 cases have been referred to IRSA, and 128 cases have been referred to ARID. For the year 2021, 3,623 drug cases have been detected and 3,284 persons have been arrested. And out of these cases, audit trails have been conducted in 8 cases by the ADSU. 14 cases were referred to ICAC, 4 cases have been referred to CCID, 3 cases have been referred to IRSA, and 91 cases have been referred to ARID. And for the period January to 12th of May 2022, 1,237 drug cases have been detected and 1,168 persons have been arrested. Out of the cases, audit trails have been conducted in 3 cases by the ADSU, 10 cases have been referred to ICAC, 3 cases have been referred to IRSA, 2 cases have been referred to CCID, and 9 cases have been referred to ARID. I am further informed by the Commissioner of Police that out of the 190 cases referred to ADSU and CCID for audit trails, convictions have been secured in 2 cases. In 6 cases, advice of the Director of Public Prosecutions has been sought, and inquiry in the remaining 182 cases is proceeding. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the ARID that from the year 2015 to 12th of May 2022, out of the 651 drug cases referred to the police, 104 drug cases have been subjected to seizures, namely restraining, restriction, confiscation, and recovery of assets. I am further informed that inquiry into 485 cases is still ongoing. 9 cases are before court and are awaiting decision. Regarding the remaining 157 cases, the assets have been either confiscated or the relevant orders have been discharged, depending on the outcome of the criminal cases by the police. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the ICAC that from 1st January 2015 to 12th of May 2022, the Commission instituted money laundering investigations into 150 drug-related cases. This figure includes 43 police referrals and 53 investigations instituted by the Commission, following recommendations made in the report of the Commission of Inquiry on Drug Trafficking. The remaining 54 investigations were instituted at the Commission's own initiative following intelligence gathering. These investigations have involved the arrest of 87 suspects. Financial audit trails have been conducted in all these cases. Movable and immovable assets have been seized or attached during this period in 51 cases as follows. 1. Assets to the value of 3,400,000 rupees have been seized in 3 cases. And 2. Assets to the value of 253,700,000 684,165 rupees have been attached in 48 cases. 5 among these cases have already been disposed by the court, and assets to the value of 1,487,500 rupees have been forfeited. As at date, the status of investigation where assets have been seized or attached is as follows. 1. 4 cases are before the Financial Crimes Division, and 2. Investigation is ongoing in 42 cases. Regarding the cases referred to IRSA, the status is as follows. 1. An amount of 12,801,255 rupees have been confiscated. 2 cases for a total amount of 7,678,957 rupees are before the court for confiscation. And 3 cases for a total amount of 48,770,325 rupees are under investigation for confiscation. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nation is fully aware of the unflinching commitment and non-stop war of this government against the drug scourge. A zero-tolerance approach adopted in this war against drug trafficking is yielding positive results. Huge seizures of dangerous drugs by the ADSU have proven our determination in this relentless fight.
Mr. Speaker, sir, in the light of the figures and details mentioned by the Honourable Prime Minister, it is clear that law enforcement agencies have made a number of significant drug seizures. However, the absence of a formal intelligence sharing platform amongst the law enforcement agencies and those involved in the financial enforcement and regulatory sector has been an impediment to the effective running of interdiction and suppression operations. I am not saying this. This is an extract from page 30 of National Drug Control Master Plan 2019-2023. Mr. Speaker, sir, will the Honourable Prime Minister inform the House what are the impediments which hamper the relevant financial enforcement authorities and the regulatory sector to carry out fruitful financial audit trails where drugs worth billions of rupees continue to get into our territory?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I must say that with time, there has been better coordination amongst the different agencies in combating drug trafficking. And I know, because I have been following very closely the actions that some of the agencies are carrying out. And I can say that nowadays there is a lot of exchange of information that is going on, and that we also have understanding even with foreign institutions. Because as we know, drugs come from abroad, and as we have seen, because of this collaboration that has existed amongst the different agencies, also with foreign institutions in the combat of drugs, we have been able to make, in fact, record seizures, as everyone knows.
General.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Can the Honourable Prime Minister inform the House of this sharing of information mechanism between the agencies concerned that he has mentioned in his answer regarding to the financial audit trails?
Well, as I say, there is nowadays a lot of information that is being shared between police and the FIU that is done via the GoAML platform, which has been set up in 2017 by the FIU. And before 2017, the exchange of information were taking place, in fact, via meetings, that had to request, in fact, for information to be exchanged. Now it is becoming more automatic. And the exchange and sharing of information between police, ADSU, ICAC, FIU, IRSA, MRA takes place in the following manner. Following major drug cases, there is regular coordinating meetings that are held by the police and ADSU for the sharing of intelligence and for the follow-up of previous cases. There are bilateral meetings between police, ADSU, and other concerned agencies that are held as, obviously, and when required. The AML-CFT Coordinating Task Force meetings that is chaired by the Director of Public Prosecutions are held in respect of progress of inquiries into the major drug cases and other crimes. The ACT-CFT meetings are attended by police, ADSU, ICAC, FIU, MRA, and IRSA.
Thank you. Since the transfer of fund is also involved in drug trafficking cases, Honorable Prime Minister, can you inform the House whether your government intends to review the money trail mechanism? I will give you 2 examples where serious flows have been noted in our system. First, a Nigerian international with a student visa, Mr. A.O., depositing daily sum between 40 to 15,000 rupees since January 2022 to date, and to date already transferred through telegraphic transfer 2 million rupees. A second case, a Nigerian student, Mrs. N, transferred within a period of 1 year, 5 million rupees through telegraphic transfer again, and yet they are still in Mauritius. And as per my information, Mr. Honorable Prime Minister, these are not isolated cases.
Well, Mr. Speaker, sir, first of all, I do not know to which cases the Honorable Member is referring to. Obviously, he has all the information. He can provide me with those information. I will definitely undertake to do the needful with regard to those institutions that are concerned. But let me say one thing. All the financial institutions, banking and other institutions dealing with money, they have a duty to raise a suspicious transaction whenever they feel that there is a case of money laundering, or whether there is a case which is involving a criminal activity. So it is for those institutions, of course, to report such kind of transactions that the Honourable Member has mentioned, huge sums of money being transferred. But anyway, as I say, I am open if there are cases where people know about criminal activities. Of course, I will definitely refer those cases to the relevant authorities for investigation. So I rely on the Honourable Member, if he's serious, to confidentially share with me those cases that he has mentioned in Parliament, and with some details at least for investigation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Further to the cases mentioned by Honorable Juman, and with the unpleasant episodes of Alvaro Sobrino, Peter Wuczek, and Glenn Angliotti, the perception, I'm saying the perception outside the House is that Mauritius has become a safe haven for drug lords.
No, put your question, please.
My question to the Honorable Prime Minister is, what are the actions taken by him or the agencies to find out if there are other Sobrinos, Angliottis, and Yuricheks safely harbored within our territory?
Please.
Well, the honourable member is saying perception. Well, his perception probably. Well, of course, whenever there is any case which will requires any investigation, the authorities will do so. And the honourable member is mentioning, well, the Yuricheks. Well, we know who has been defending Peter Yurichek in this house and outside.
Order.
And outside, who are the people who are now criticizing government for having taken such an action? In fact, and I repeat again, when this gentleman came to Mauritius, there was nothing adverse known to our authorities against him. It was only later on. Well, you talking.
Order.
Honorable
What are you
Bulel
doing?
is always
The Prime
interrupting.
Minister is answering, is replying to a question. What is your right to intervene? Just let me know what is your right. You have no right. Quiet. Continue.
Well,
What is that? What did you say? No, you are intervening. You are obstructing the proceeding of the House. There is no standing. There is no point of order. You have no right. Quiet. Please continue.
I was saying, Mr. Speaker, sir, there are only well,
Honorable Patrika Shavadan, please be quiet. No. If you can't listen to these things, please, this is an instruction I'm giving you. This is my ruling. You don't discuss my ruling. You have no right to discuss the Speaker's ruling. That is not my problem. Please continue.
well, as I say, Mr. Speaker, sir, the usual thing is that the honourable members come with unfounded allegations. They are not able even to prove what they are saying. Prove it. When you say that this gentleman came and that it was already known that he was, known. It was known by our institutions that he was a criminal. Prove it. Well, we have proved it that at that time it was not known. But then when we found out, of course, we acted. And when we acted, then they start to criticize, they start to say, I don't want to go into that again, but as I say again, Mr. Speaker, sir, when you're talking about perception, the population will judge, will be able to know who are the people who are fighting those drug traffickers, those criminals, those international criminals who have been involved in drug trafficking for the sum of nearly 700 million rupees, and who are the people who are defending those criminals.
Honorable Itu.
Thank you. Merci, Monsieur le Président. On entend souvent les suppositions, les allégations, les frivolous statements des membres de l'opposition. Je voudrais peut-être que l'honorable Premier ministre enlighten the House and the population at large. What is the street value of drugs seized from 2010 to 2004 compared to the street value of drugs seized from period 2015 to date? Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Again, that will also, maybe perception-wise, will make people...
Please, Honorable Juman.
Will,
You don't have the right to stop the Prime Minister or any member. Any member here has a right to put a supplementary question. Not only you. You had your supplementary question already. Please.
yeah. So I was saying, Mr. Speaker, sir, again, then people will see this is what I'm going to say is not perception. People will be able to judge. For the period 2010 to 2014, the total street value of different drugs seized stood at 996.3 million rupees. And for the period 2015 to 11th of May 2022, the total street value of drugs, of different drugs seized stood at 13.7 billion rupees. That proves, Mr. Speaker, sir, the successful crusade that we have led against drugs since we assumed office in December 2014.
Honorable Lakshman Roy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. It's already been canvassed. Thank you.
Honorable Tu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Can the Honorable Prime Minister inform the House on the status of the implementation of the recommendation made in the Commission of Inquiry on Drug Trafficking Report 2018?
Well, Mr. Speaker, sir, there is regular monitoring of the implementation of the recommendations of the report that is conducted by the National Drug Secretariat of my office. As at March 2022, the status of the 390 recommendations of the report was 258 have already been implemented or have adequate measures in place. Actions have been initiated on 75 recommendations. 23 recommendations, of course, will require legislative amendments or are under consideration at the level of different ministries and departments. 31 are considered not feasible by different ministries and departments concerned, and necessary actions will be taken in respect of 3 recommendations at the level of the judiciary in relation to the Drug Offenders Administrative Panel.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Thank you. Sometime back, unless I'm wrong, sometime back, the Prime Minister himself publicly stated that it is the drug mafia which has financed the recent riots which broke out in the country. I will ask the Prime Minister if he holds sensitive information regarding the identity of the drug mafia which financed the riots. Will he initiate a police investigation to find out the source of funds of these people? If he has asked the relevant authorities to initiate financial audit trails to track down the mafia financing riots in Mauritius?
Mr. Speaker, sir, from that very day, police has started to investigate. And then the honourable member will have to wait and see. You will see what action is being taken and the result at the end of the day.
Honorable Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the Prime Minister have any information whether the financial audit trail include overseas financial trade, particularly in tax-free haven countries, for example, Jersey Islands?
Well, Mr. Speaker, sir, let me say that I do not seek information with regard to individual cases. It would not be proper for me to require information, and of course the agencies also will not provide me with the details of each case. But I can reassure the honourable member that when the financial audit trail is being carried out, obviously it is not only locally, but as we have numerous understanding with different international agencies, those agencies also are being requested to provide required information in order to help us to be able to establish cases against any suspect.
The table is advised that PQ B635, B636, B638, B637, B625 have been withdrawn. Time is over. Honorable Usman Mohammed.
Thank you, Speaker. Sir, B641.
Mr. Speaker, sir, since there are 3 questions on Hajj Pilgrimage 2022 which have been addressed to me, with your permission, I will reply to all the questions together. Mr. Speaker, sir, at the very outset, allow me to state that this year's Hajj pilgrimage is being organized as per very particular conditions imposed by the Saudi authorities, and that there is no comparison whatsoever which can be made between this year's Hajj pilgrimage with pilgrimage of previous years. And one of the most significant change this year is that only 1 million pilgrims will be authorized to perform Hajj, as opposed to 5 million pilgrims which were granted visa. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, with regards to the Hajj pilgrimage 2022, I'm informed by the ICC that following various correspondences from the Saudi authorities for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Regional Integration and International Trade, and the pre-Hajj mission of the chairperson of the ICC in Saudi Arabia from the 19th to the 25th April 2022, the following information have been obtained. For this year's pilgrimage, the Mutawafun Foundation has been designated by the Saudi authorities as per the body responsible for the organization of the Hajj. Mauritius has been allocated 679 visas by the foundation. However, government has initiated negotiations with the Saudi authorities to increase the number of visas to 1,000. The negotiations are still ongoing and a reply is awaited. Compared to previous years, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, only those aged above 18 years old and under 65 years will be eligible to participate in the pilgrimage, provided, of course, that they are fully vaccinated as per the approved list of vaccines of the Saudi Ministry of Health. And pilgrims will have to submit a negative PCR test performed 72 hours before arrival in Saudi Arabia, as well as an insurance policy covering full treatment costs in case of infection with COVID-19 and valid for the whole duration of the pilgrimage. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to the number of persons who have applied to perform Hajj this year, I'm informed that registration for Hajj pilgrimage is an ongoing exercise. As at date, there are around 29,700 registered pilgrims on the Hajj registration list. In view of the reduced number of visas and the new conditions imposed regarding age and vaccination, the ICC has already started an exercise with those eligible on the list to confirm their interest. According to latest information, 679 persons on the registered list have confirmed their participation in the pilgrimage, with an additional 60 on a waiting list, from the waiting list. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm further informed that arrangements will be made, as in previous years, for the transportation of pilgrims. To that effect, the ICC has launched on the 21st of April 2022 a tender exercise for the transportation of pilgrims, and the deadline for the submission of the bids is le 20 May 2022. As regards accommodation of the pilgrims, I'm informed that a meeting was held on the 5th May 2022 between the ICC and the Hajj operators, whereby the latter were informed that the same hotels for which deposits were made in 2020 can be used for the 2022 pilgrimage. To that effect, 8 Hajj operators have traveled to Saudi Arabia to finalize the list of hotels for the approval of the Mutawafun Foundation. Once approval is obtained, the list of the hotels and the costs thereof to accommodate the pilgrims will be communicated. Mr. Speaker, sir, let us be clear, and this is well known by members. The cost of the Hajj pilgrimage is not determined by the government, but depends mostly on the Saudi authorities and is beyond our control. At this stage, it is difficult to estimate the cost of the Hajj pilgrimage 2022. Honorable Osman Mohamed has requested for a comparison with the 2021 Hajj pilgrimage, but due to COVID-19 pandemic, only citizens and residents of Saudi Arabia were allowed to perform Hajj in 2021. Thus, 2021 is not a year of reference, rather we can refer to 2019. And compared to Hajj pilgrimage 2019, there are indications based on current market figures that the cost would definitely be higher due to several factors beyond our control. These are, inter alia, the increase in value-added tax in Saudi Arabia from 5% to 15% since July 2020. The increase in transportation tax from 1,571 Saudi riyal in 2019 to 1,750 Saudi riyal in 2022. Increase in Qurbani fees from 400 Saudi riyal in 2019 to 1,000 Saudi riyal in 2022, more than 100% increase. Introduction, as from this year, of a mandatory Makkah catering service of around 60 riyal per day per Haji. Increase in the cost of special services for the 5-day Hajj in Mina, Arafat, and Muzdalifah to around 7,000 riyal instead of 2,232 riyal in 2019, more than 300% increase. General increase in cost of airfares and accommodation. And finally, introduction of a Hajj visa fees of amounting to 410 riyal by Saudi authorities. However, Mr. Speaker, sir, as at now, all these costs are subject to confirmation by the Saudi authorities. I personally chaired a meeting yesterday with the chairperson and board members of the ICC to discuss on the pilgrimage and the possible cost implications. A Hajj committee has been set up, which will be co-chaired by myself and my colleague, the Vice Prime Minister, Dr. Hosnu, with the participation of the Senior Advisor to the Prime Minister's Office, Dr. Jumai. The committee will meet this Friday to take stock of the airfares and accommodation and to discuss on other cost implications. Ambassador Sudan will also intervene via video conference during the meetings of the Hajj Committee, and he will ensure coordination with the Saudi authorities and the Mutawafun Foundation. I wish to inform the House that I had a phone conversation with Ambassador Sudan yesterday, who assured me that necessary follow-up were being made with the Saudi authorities. Mr. Speaker, sir, finally, I wish to reassure the House that given the importance that Hajj represents to the Muslim community, as it is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, the government, more particularly the Prime Minister, is not sparing any effort to ensure a better package for our pilgrims. Negotiations will be maintained with the Saudi authorities, et tout cela in the best interest of all the pilgrims, and to ensure that all our pilgrims complete their sacred duty in the best possible conditions.
Thank you, Speaker, sir. I would invite the Honourable Minister to read my question again. Nowhere in the question was mentioned 2019. My question pertains to the last edition, where Mauritian attended, which is 2019, the year of reference that he has mentioned in his question. Can I ask the Honourable Minister whether he has taken cognizance of several religious leaders, one of them being Maulana Kodadin, in an article dated 13th of May, titled « L'ICC a failli dans l'organisation du Hajj 2022 », wherein it is mentioned that une personne doit débourser 300 000 roupies au minimum pour accomplir le Hajj cette année. Can I ask the Honourable Minister, being given, according to information that I have, and I do reconcile with the fact that costs have increased, no doubt about that, and across the world, an increase of 40% is being...
Put your question. You've been too long now. Put your question.
An increase of 40% is being felt all over the
I
place.
told you to put
Can
your
I ask
question.
the Honourable Minister? Yeah, I'm coming. Can I ask the Honourable Minister whether the 40% increment, if we apply it to 2019 version, which is 150K, 150,000 rupees, that the package be finalized to around 200 and 210,000 rupees instead of 300,000 rupees to facilitate people going for this pillar of Islam?
I've just mentioned, Mr. Speaker, sir, that the cost of the Hajj pilgrimage is not determined by the government. So we can speculate for hours and days and weeks. I've just given in my reply all the factors that when you add up determines the cost. There has been increase in airfares, there has been increase in the value-added tax. I've set out all the increases that today will definitely impact on the cost. But we cannot speculate. We cannot just come up with figures and say 300,000. This is not responsible. We are working today. There is a bid which is going to be open on Friday in relation to transportation, airfare. There are operators presently, and some of them are already back from Saudi Arabia. We will get the cost of accommodation from them. So let's wait until we have more, plus de visibilité sur les coûts, and in a certain manner, we can come up with a package where we have certainty in terms of cost rather than just speculating or coming up with figures which can create misinformation in the community.
The Honourable Minister just mentioned that we're going to have only 679 visas. Will the Honourable Minister take the matter up with the Chairman and representative of the ICC to see to it if priority this year can be given to those pilgrims who are between 60 and 65, because people with above 65 cannot perform Hajj for the time being. So people who are 64, 63, perhaps this year is their last opportunity to do the Hajj. So if priority could be given to these pilgrims and those who have never performed Hajj before.
Mr. Speaker, sir, there is a process established in terms of how they determine, how they work out the registration list and who to contact or not for each Hajj pilgrimage for each year. But I take good note of the proposal of Honorable Utim, and I will convey the request if same can be entertained by ICC.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honourable Minister, you mentioned clearly in your answer it is difficult to give an estimate now. Are you aware, Honourable Minister, that officers from the ICC called future Hajis asking them if they are agreeable to go ahead as a minimum tariff will be 300,000 rupees? And can you inform the House who gave them instruction to call the Haji and give them the tariff of 300,000 rupees? And can we know how many of them declined because of the tariff of 300,000 out of the 679 you mentioned who confirmed? How many of them, how many you contacted and how many declined because of the tariff?
Mr. Speaker, sir, we are 50 days from Hajj. And once we get an indication on the number of visas that has been allocated to the country, there is the initiation of a process of contacting all pilgrims who are on the registration list to seek their interest whether they want to perform Hajj or not this year. And as soon as we got the figure, this exercise was initiated by the ICC as for any previous edition. Now, in terms of whether officers stated that 300,000 or more, I fail to understand again, Mr. Speaker, sir. In my reply, I did mention that we don't have a clear indication of the package. And these information have been provided by the ICC. There was a HUD mission that went to Saudi Arabia to collect information, to garner all information for us to be able to prepare the Hajj exercise this year. So I failed to, I don't agree with Honourable Member that there is a figure that has been put to pilgrims or people who are on the registration list, or even the famous 300,000 that everyone, not everyone, but I've heard members talking about. I'm very sorry, but we are conducting the registration and seeking interest from registered person as it has been done previous years. The same process is being followed.
Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. One of the new conditions for the performance of Hajj ritual this year by the Saudi authorities is to have a COVID-19 insurance, which add to the cost. Can the Honourable Minister, in an attempt to mitigate the price, ask the government whether SICOM Insurance in Mauritius will offer a preferential package to all Hajis in an attempt to bring down the cost? And secondly, will he also check with the State Bank of Mauritius to give a preferential rate of buying reals so that the costs can be mitigated in a context where prices have gone up? Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I can reassure Honourable Member that the government, and I said particularly the Prime Minister, we are doing everything in our capacity, not only to ensure that we maintain our negotiation forcefully with the authorities to get a better deal in terms of the package, in terms of cost, but also if there are certain measures to be taken here, we have to, of course, in the Hajj Committee, discuss and see the possibilities and the leeway that we have. But be reassured, Honourable Member, that we are doing our utmost best to ensure, as I said, to get the best package in the best interest of all the pilgrims.
Last supplementary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, the Honourable Minister stated that the cost is not determined by government, which is true, and I agree to that. But can I appeal to the Honourable Minister that government make a request to the Saudi authorities to reduce certain fixed fees, bien sûr, dans la limite du possible?
I did state in my reply, Honourable Member, that Ambassador Sudan is in constant contact with the Saudi authorities, with the Mutawafun Foundation, to see if potentially there can be reduction in certain fixed costs that are being imposed this year. But unfortunately, we won't be able to commit in any way because, as I said, these are negotiations, and we have a new institution, the Mutawafun Foundation, which is a private institution that is involved in organization of Hajj this year. So we are doing, as I said, our utmost best to get the best package.
Table has been advised that PQB 669, 670, 666, 681, 687, 697, 677, 690, 708, 703, 706 have been withdrawn. I will suspend the sitting for 1.5 hours.